Hello everybody, welcome along for our latest roundup from the Vanarama National League here on BT Sport. Half an hour jam-packed with all the key incidents from this weekend's action. Here's a little flavour of what's coming up. The Dover dream continues as they dump Gateshead. Kidderminster's survival hopes boosted as Macclesfield slumped at Agbra. And Harvey left livid as Halifax's unbeaten run ends. Dover Athletics' surge into playoff contention has been one of the stories of the season in the National League, but a run of 4 defeats in their last 7 games had seen Chris Kinnear's side drop out of the top 5. They took on a Gateshead team unbeaten in 5 matches, and Neil Aspin's men almost struck first, James Curtis's header causing chaos in the Dover area. But the hosts led within 25 minutes at Crabble, Ricky Miller anticipating the poor backheader from Curtis, and Miller eventually broke the deadlock for Dover. And they didn't have to wait long for a second as Gateshead were harried out of possession. Miller a menace down the left, this time turning provider, his cross finding its way to Nicky Deverdix, an emphatic finish as Deverdix hit the back of the net for the 12th time this season and for the 3rd time in 3 games. The part-timers from the southeast had this game wrapped up before half-time. Stephen Payne with a forceful run down the right, cutting the ball back for Miller, who stroked home his 14th goal of the campaign. 6 in 4 games for Miller, Dover dominant. The weather took a turn for the worse after half-time, but the Dover deluge continued. Gateshead keeper Sam Russell not rewarded for a good save as Payne followed up for his 12th of the season and Dover's 4th of the afternoon. The closest the visitors came to a consolation was when CJ Hamilton's cross was headed against the woodwork by John Shaw. Dover's first clean sheet in 12 matches, they're back in the playoff places as the underdog's tale goes on.
We've never been a side that's there's too many stars. Everyone is linked into doing the thing for the team, and today I thought we sort of clicked today, but we mustn't get carried away. It's a good result because these are a very, very good side. They're on a great run as well, so you know, we won't get carried away, but thankful for 3 points.
With 16 points between them and safety, survival seemed like mission impossible for Kidderminster just a few weeks ago. But under the guidance of Colin Gordon, Harriers had secured back-to-back wins and given themselves a glimmer of hope. But it was the visitors who almost seized the initiative. Neil Burns' header cleared off the line by Harry White. Harriers did wrestle control back in the opening exchanges, an ambitious attempt from Ben Whitfield serving as a warning sign for Macclesfield. Gordon's men did break through from their own set piece. Whitfield's corner bundled in by Keith Lowe after 10 minutes. Lowe's first goal of the season. The informed Harriers doubled their lead just 6 minutes later with a helping hand from Macclesfield keeper Shwan Jalal. White's shot from 20 yards fumbled in by Jalal. That's his 2nd goal for Kidderminster since his loan move from Barnsley. The confidence in the Kidderminster ranks was there for all to see at Agbra. Whitfield again the provider, picking out Arthur Ganua, who netted against his former club. The hosts establishing a 3-0 lead with just a third of the game gone. John Askey's side searched for a way back into the game before half-time. Danny Whittaker breaking clear from midfield, Dean Snedker denying him. The visitors have been able to bank on the firepower of Christian Dennis this season. 20 goals for the Macclesfield striker so far, but even he couldn't find a way through before the interval. Dennis did manage to notch goal number 21 of the campaign in the 90th minute. But the day was all about Kidderminster, who are now 7 points away from safety. Is the great escape on?
Why not? If we don't believe, then the players won't believe. You know, the fans have got to believe. We've got to believe. You know, it's a big ask. It's a big ask. The position we find ourselves in was a lot of people have written us off. We've worked extremely hard on, you know, playing in a type of way which gives us a chance, but we're doing it properly.
The first meeting between Halifax and Forest Green this season was one that certainly promised goals. The hosts had scored in their last 13 matches, the visitors in their last 14. A big day at the Shea began in controversial fashion. Referee Ian Hussin ruling that James Jennings had been brought down, penalty to Forest Green, to the fury of the home side. No more experienced head on the pitch than John Parkin, but keeper Sam Johnson saving his spot kick, only for Parkin to convert the rebound. 11 goals this season for the Beast. Jordan Burrow had the opportunity for immediate response when he was on the receiving end of James Bolton's cross, but it was a distant sight of goal. A 10-match unbeaten run under Jim Harvey had lifted Halifax out of the drop zone, but that record looked under severe threat when Elliot Freer doubled Forest Green's advantage. The title challengers leading 2-0 after just half an hour. The hosts, though, weren't about to go down without a fight. Sam Walker's effort producing a fine save from the Forest Green keeper Steve Arnold. The game was stretched even before half-time. Keanu Marsh-Brown playing in Freer again. Johnson doing well to keep the deficit down to 2. Halifax hadn't failed to score in a league fixture since mid-October, and they were on the front foot after half-time. Richard Pennicott unable to keep his header down with the goal gaping. AD Pennock's players still had plenty of opportunities on the counter-attack. This strike from Darren Carter cannoning against the crossbar. The victory could have been sealed on numerous occasions. Marsh-Brown clean through but unable to make it 3-0, while the follow-up from Brett Williams didn't threaten the goal. Halifax felt they should have had the chance to get back into the game. Substitute Connor Hughes thought he was brought down, and as the referee turned away appeals for a penalty, ill feeling between both sets of players boiled over, as all the post-match conversation was about the penalty that was given.
Well, it was handed to them on a plate. It was a decision on the penalty kick, which was baffling, really. I don't think anybody knew what it was for. There was no appeals from their side for penalty. We didn't know what the free kick was for. Nobody did, only a referee, and it was a bit of a bizarre moment. You know, and this is where referees get it wrong. For me, if you're going to make a decision like that and it's going to influence the outcome of the game, then you've got to be definite.
With Forest Green winning, victory for Cheltenham Town was essential for them to stay top of the National League. And there won't have been many fans at Whaddon Road that wouldn't have backed them to beat a Welling side without a win in 13 games. The visitors began the day third from bottom of the table and couldn't contain Dan Holman, goalkeeper Marek Rodak keeping him out. Holman has hit the ground running since his January move to Cheltenham, and he continued to tussle with the Slovenian stopper. Rodak again with the save. Asa Hall was offside as the ball was spilled. The pressure was relentless and Cheltenham led after 17 minutes. Danny Wright with a superb header. 9 goals in the last 9 matches for Cheltenham's top scorer. Dean Frost's team didn't lay a glove on the hosts in the first 45 minutes. Michael Bakari not able to make a strong enough connection to trouble Dylan Phillips. Rodak, on loan from Fulham, was certainly earning his money. Cheltenham right back Jack Barthram bursting forward as his shot was beaten away. Only 2 teams had beaten Cheltenham in their previous 31 matches this season, and 5 minutes after the break, the hosts finally made their superiority show. Barthram crossing for Wright, who turned the ball towards goal. Holman left with a tap-in for his 3rd goal in 4 games since signing for Gary Johnson's side. Cheltenham's 63rd of the campaign. No club has scored more in the National League. It could have been 64. Cheltenham's Billy Waters given a great chance to get in on the act, but Welling defender Barney Williams with a superb last-ditch tackle to foil him. One-way traffic for Cheltenham as they continue their club record run. They're now unbeaten in 19 league matches.
We had enough good football, didn't we? And really we should have had at least 3 or 4 more from the chances that we had, but we didn't, and you know, you can't cry over it. And you know, at the end of the day, 2-0 is 2-0 is 3 points.
Lincoln City are part of a very congested chase for a playoff place, while Altrincham are concentrating solely on survival. Plenty at stake at Moss Lane in a matchup that exploded into life right from the referee's whistle. James Caton, on loan at Lincoln from Shrewsbury, embarked on a mazy run in the opening minute, Tim Deasy saving with his legs. An immediate response from Altrincham, a smart move as last season's top scorer Damien Reeves forced a save out of Paul Farman. Straight up the other end, Caton was again the cause of the home side's problems, more trickery, and eventually a cross found Matt Reid, who somehow fired straight at Deasy. And with just 3 minutes on the clock, the opening goal of the game arrived for the home side. Ryan Crowther's strike from long range, parried by Farman, only as far as Johnny Margette's, a second goal of the season for the man on loan from Tranmere. Chris Moyes's men may not be in the playoff picture if it wasn't for the goals of Reid. Brad Wood's ball in, Reid floating a header into the corner, 1-1 after just 7 minutes. And 4 minutes later, the hosts were back in front. Crowther with a cross for another loanee, Josh Ginley, the Burnley boy, with his third goal in 4 games. High drama in the opening 11 minutes, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Caton collided with the Altrincham skipper, Jake Malt, penalty to Lincoln. Reid stepping up with the fans expecting the net to bulge, but it didn't. Reid instead firing wide of the target. Minutes later, referee Richard Wrigglesworth had Malt in his sights again. This time the defender adjudged to have handled in the area. Reid showing character to step up once more, and this time convert his 22nd goal of the season. 2-2 at the interval. Into the second half, Lincoln finally led for the first time. Route 1 provided the path to goal, and Jack Muldoon was on hand to register for the second successive match. 3-2 Lincoln. Then came a moment that Moyes will struggle to forget. The Lincoln goalkeeper Farman deciding that this was the best time to practice his keepy-ups. Reeves the recipient as he closed the keeper down and made it 3-3 at Moss Lane. Honours even in a pulsating encounter.
I bet from a neutral point of view, it was a great game to come and watch. But you know, we don't like conceding goals, and I'm sure Lincoln will be saying the same. So from a fan's point of view, it was a great game. But we felt defensively we could have done a lot better, not just the back four, but as a team. So that gives us something to go and work on the training ground next week. The other side to that is you've got to give a little bit of credit to Reeves because he's chased a lost cause. He's put a little bit of doubt in the keeper's mind. He's rushed him a little bit, and you know, let's look at it from our point of view. It's you know, Reeves has rolled his sleeves up and chased the lost cause and got himself a goal. So we'll look at a positive from that angle.
Bromley travelled north to face Wrexham, the side they beat 3-1 in their first ever National League match. Back then, Mark Goldberg was in charge, but to the disappointment of fans, he was sacked earlier this month. It was the home side who dominated the early exchanges. Sean Newton's powerful strike crashing off the post before Mark Beck's opening goal was denied for offside. This match saw the return of captain Lee Fowler as a late replacement for the injured Manny Smith, and after a 2-month loan spell with Tamworth, he opened the scoring. His first of the season, and in fact his first for Wrexham since September 2011. 5 minutes later, Bromley's Paul Rogers was adjudged to have taken down Connor Jennings inside the area. Jennings himself stepped up to convert the spot kick, his 11th of the season, making him Wrexham's top scorer. 2 goals in the first half was all it took to secure the points. A good day then for the Wrexham manager Gary Mills as his side move up to 8th.
We decided to change it a little bit today, maybe forced on us a little bit with Manny Smith not being fit, but you know, we've won the game 2-0, got ourselves a clean sheet, 3 massive points for us, which we needed. You know, it's 4 unbeaten for us now, so it's been a good couple of weeks, and we'll keep fighting to the end.
I can't credit the boys enough about giving it their all. You know, you know, they could have just given up. They could have just thrown in the towel, but they didn't. They kept on going. They believed in each other. You know, I'll be giving it everything I've got until the board decide what they want to do, and I'll get as much as I can out of the players until they say and decide what to do.
Promotion contenders Braintree travelled to Southport looking to make it 5 straight wins against their Merseyside opponents, and their recent form has been impressive, coming off the back of 3 straight league wins. It was the visitors who looked the dominant side in the first half. However, signs of a leaky defence began to show early on, Southport's Luke Foster wasting this chance. Braintree pressed for the opening goal, and Dan Sparks did just that with half an hour gone. Some questionable goalkeeping from Max Crocombe, and it cost Southport. Chance after chance fell for Braintree, but they failed to double their advantage time and time again. Sparks should have made more with this effort. Dino Memori's arrival in November has certainly turned things around for Southport, but it looked like they were heading for their 3rd straight league defeat. That was until Lewis Ullman popped up for the equaliser in the 57th minute, his 10th goal of the season. It led to a dominant second half for Southport, and they could have taken all 3 points. Substitute Andy Bishop unable to take this chance, which meant a share of the spoils for both sides. Southport's first ever point at home to Braintree Town sees them climb to 14th, whilst Braintree move up to 6th with 2 games in hand over 5th place Dover.
Woking hoped to get their promotion challenge back on track after a winless 3-match run. They played host to a struggling Guiseley, who themselves had only managed 1 victory in 6. The visitors surprised the home fans from the start. The Woking keeper Jake Cole forced to make a save from Will Hatfield. Woking hit back. This time it was the Guiseley keeper Stephen Drench forced to deny Sean Jeffers. But with only 9 minutes gone, the Woking defence were too busy appealing for offside when Liam Dickinson, Guiseley's top scorer, took advantage to fire the visitors ahead. Mark Bower's men continued to round the Woking defence. Keeper Cole again integral to keeping the deficit down. Woking did have their chances. Giuseppe Sol was their danger man, first of all scuffing this chance. And then keeper Drench continued to be alert to Sol's danger. Woking's woes continued into the second half as Guiseley impressively took charge of the game. Cole yet again keeping the scoreline at 1-0 after that header from Emil Sinclair. It became increasingly apparent an equaliser wasn't on the cards. Drench again proving too good to beat. Woking dropped to 9th as rumours of unrest in the dressing room concerning end-of-season bonuses begin to surface. Guiseley now 8 points clear of the drop zone.
Grimsby came into this fixture having lost just 1 in their last 12, whereas Boreham Wood were without a win in 4 and sitting just below the drop zone. So you'd think the form card would favour Grimsby for all 3 points. However, wasteful attacks like this meant a frustrating first half for the home side. And the second half wasn't much better for the promotion hopefuls. The hosts had 10 corners in this game, their inability to convert proving exasperating for the home fans. Omar Bogle was then ruled offside after a long-range effort on goal by Evan Horwood, summing up Grimsby's performance. A disappointing draw for Paul Hurst and his men, who still sit 3rd in the league but now have their work cut out for them if they're to have any hope of winning automatic promotion.
Said all along, the idea is to try and get promoted, and if that's the playoffs, that's what it is. You know, far from gloomy times, and we've got a team that's extremely hard to beat. Some very good players, and as I said, they'll always get my support if I feel that they've given everything to the shirt, and they're certainly doing that.
You would expect the in-form clash of the weekend to produce lots of goals. Aldershot coming off the back of 3 consecutive wins and Tranmere off the back of 4. Sadly, that wasn't the case. Gary Brabin described the visitors' first-half performance as tatty. Their best chance, well defended by the hosts. It took Aldershot 30 minutes for their first sight on goal. Charlie Walker going close with that flicked on effort. In the second half, Tranmere looked a little bit more threatening after bringing on the former Blackpool striker Gary Taylor-Fletcher and came close with that chance from Jeff Hughes. But Aldershot continued to fight. Rhys Brown could only manage the side netting as the spoils were shared. So no movement between the top 4 places, but once again Dover defy the doubters, back winning games and back in the playoff places. They're followed closely by Braintree, who could replace them if they win their matches in hand. Wrexham's 2-0 win over managerless Bromley keeps them in the hunt, but difficult times ahead for Gary Hill's Woking. Those rumours of unrest in the dressing room over bonuses could last until the end of the season. At the bottom, Kidderminster can dream again and are now only 7 points away from safety after their mauling of Macclesfield and indeed Eastleigh earlier in the week. Halifax hovered just above the relegation zone after their impressive survival run was halted by Forest Green. But troubled Torquay know they have it all to do if they're going to avoid the drop to the National League South. Their game on Saturday was postponed. A reminder that our next live match from the National League is on the 4th of March as BT Sports cameras head back to the new lawn as 2 of the favourites for promotion, Forest Green Rovers and Grimsby Town, go head to head. That's it for this time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Jacko sponsors the National League on BT Sport.